What's going on, everyone? In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing with you everything that I wish I knew when I first started planting garlic, because it's garlic planting season and I am really excited about it. Garlic planting season for me is a little bit bittersweet. I find that there's a lot of stuff that's on its way out, but there's so much optimism being planted for next season. And so it's just kind of an exciting time for me. And it's a really great way for me to kind of finish off the season. We still have quite a few crops still in the ground, but I'm really excited to get planting garlic because it's really the one thing that kind of seals my hope for next season's garden and gets me excited. So let's go. So when it comes to planting garlic, the first thing that I like to stress is the importance of planting seed garlic over store-bought garlic. Now, I will say right off the bat, yes, you certainly can plant garlic from the store. A lot of people have had success planting garlic from the store. So I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying that your likelihood of success goes down greatly with store-bought garlic for a lot of reasons. The first reason is that store-bought garlic is oftentimes not grown here in the US. And garlic that's grown non-domestically, internationally, often has the roots, the basal plate, drilled out. And if you've ever seen that on your garlic, that's simply because US quarantine laws state that imported garlic has to have any foreign debris removed. And foreign debris would be things like soil or roots that could bring soil and potentially other hitchhikers on, like might be a soil-borne disease or a fungus or maybe a pest. And it's super important for the safety of our agricultural industry that happens. And if you buy garlic to plant that has had that basal plate drilled out, all the garlic inside will be damaged. And that is what's really unfortunate, is that if you don't know that, you're gonna plant garlic and it's all gonna rot. That's the first reason why your success could be diminished. The second reason why your success is greatly diminished is because even if you end up buying a US grown garlic from the store, unfortunately, one of the main varieties that is in the store is known as a white porcelain garlic. And it usually comes from California. It's one variety. It's kind of the monoculture of the garlic world. It'd be the equivalent of you only growing beefsteak tomatoes. There's so many other varieties that are grown for different reasons. It may be disease resistance, it may be drought tolerance, it may be the size of the cloves, the size of the head, whatever it may be. There's so many reasons why biodiversity is important, and you're not getting that with store-bought garlic because there really only is one variety represented at the store. And so you're not having the best chance at success if you're not experiencing that biodiversity. And that's the second, and I would say probably the most common reason why I recommend going with seed garlic. And then the third and final reason why seed garlic is really important is because of the size of the cloves. So when it comes to clove size, it's really important that you plant the largest, healthiest cloves, because that's going to give you the largest, healthiest heads. And if you don't start with a large, healthy head, you're not going to end up with large, healthy cloves, because the two are directly correlated. And so when you're going with seed garlic is defined as a garlic that is of viable size. Unfortunately, a lot of the garlic you get at grocery stores is not considered viable size. Therefore, it's considered culinary garlic. It's meant to be eaten, not meant to be planted. And that's because it's undersized. Now, what they do is they actually will take the garlic and they have what's called a caliper, and they set it to what is considered a viable size. Depending on the variety, it could be anywhere from 1.25 inches in diameter to about 2 inches in diameter, depending on the variety. And they set the caliper and they put the garlic up to the caliper. If it fits within what's called the gate, that means that it's undersized. If it fits outside of the gate, meaning it's larger than the gate, that means it's oversized, and it's going to be able to be called seed garlic, which is going to be a viable garlic for you to plant and generate healthy cloves, which is going to be a better seed stock for you in your garden. Now, believe it or not, there's actually other industries that follow this similar grading technique. If you've ever gone to the store and bought eggs, eggs are graded on the same way. They fit through a slot. If they fit within the slot, they move on to the next size slot. If they don't fit, that's what grade they are. Lobsters, there's certain lobstering laws that you have a gate. If the lobster fits within the gate, it's undersized. If it does not fit within the gate, meaning it's oversized, it's okay to take. And so a lot of people deal with these type of gradings on a day-to-day basis, but you really don't know it. And that's super cool because garlic is exactly the same way as eggs and lobsters. The more you know, there's a little icebreaker for your next awkward dinner party. Second thing that I wish I knew when I first started planting garlic was the importance of re-amending your soil. Now, obviously, re-amending your soil is something that I knew was important, but I only ever really did it in the spring. And the reason why I did it in the spring is because I really just felt like, all right, I amended it, I did my job, therefore, I don't really have to do anything more. Whatever I was growing in it probably didn't take all the nutrients. I'll follow up next season with another re-amending and we should be good again. That couldn't be further from the truth. And if you fall in that line of thinking, I really want to stress the importance of re-amending your soil. After every single crop that we grow, we always re-amend. Now, it doesn't always have to be with compost. We do, but you don't have to. At least re-amend with some type of nutrients, right? Some type of fertilizer, some type of soil amendment. You always want to be giving back to the soil what you're taking out, because otherwise you're going to really be struggling in the long run. Because if you grow something like, let's say we grew tomatoes here, those tomatoes took a lot of nutrients out of the soil. And the best time to refertilize and re-amend is when you're planting. You don't want to have to go through the hassle of refertilizing and re-amending after you've already planted. That's really a struggle, and it's way more work than it has to be. And so I find that just doing it before you plant gives your soil the refresh that it needs to get your plants off to the races, because these are going to be in the ground all fall, all winter, all spring, before you harvest in early, like the second week in July, so early July. You're going to be harvesting your garlic. And so whatever you put in the soil has to sustain them from now until early July. And that's why I find it's so important, could not be more important to the health and vitality of your garlic than it is to re-amend after your crop. We put down a fresh load of compost. That's what we do. You could just use an all-purpose fertilizer if you've already got really great soil and you've already re-amended. That's not a must. I like to do that. It's just kind of a nice habit that I got into. If you've got it on hand, you might as well use it. But then also what we did is we amended with some all-purpose fertilizer. We used Trifecta Plus. That just brings the natural fertility up. That brings the nutrients up. And then in the rows, we're going to follow up. We don't have it with us right now, but later today we're going to follow up with some Bulb Plus. Now, Bulb Plus is just what we use. Anything that has a powdered sulfur. These bulbs really need to be treated with a powdered sulfur, and that's going to lead right in to the very next thing that I wish I learned about planting garlic, is that it's so important to treat your bulbs with some type of sulfur. The reason why is your bulbs are very prone to rot. And if they rot, they will not sprout. And that's a big problem because you're planting these bulbs at a prime time for rot. You're planting them in late fall, early winter, when there's more rain, cool nights, very little sunlight. Usually you're getting some type of snow or stuff like that, and then they're sitting in that wet, damp soil all winter long, all spring, before they then sprout and start to grow. And that's prime conditions for rot. And what sulfur does is it alters the pH, making it more acidic and reducing the chance for things like mold and fungus and mildews and stuff to take hold and rot your garlic out. So important. I find that when using Bulb Plus, which contains pelletized sulfur, we go from about a 65 to a 70% success rate up to about a 95 to 97% success rate. So if you're planting 100 bulbs, we would be losing around 30-ish bulbs out of that 100, which is pretty common. 25 to 30 bulbs is pretty common, just planting as is. When using a powdered sulfur again, we use Bulb Plus, that's just what we use, but any type of powdered sulfur is going to take that from 25 to 30 bulbs lost, only down to about maybe 3 to 5 bulbs lost out of 100, which is awesome success and totally justifies using it. Next thing that I wish I learned when I first started planting garlic is don't plant too early. Now, boy, did I wish someone came along and told me this a whole lot sooner than they did. When I was planting garlic, first starting out, as soon as my summer crops were done, we're talking like late August, I would throw my garlic in the ground. And I'd throw it in the ground with the most optimistic smile. I was gleefully planting this stuff. And when it started coming up in early October, started sprouting, I said, man, I'm gonna have the best garlic in the world. If only people knew how early I'm planting my garlic. Maybe everyone would be planting garlic this early. There's a reason why not everyone's planting garlic at that time, and there's a reason why not everyone's garlic is 6 inches tall at the 1st of October. And that's because you can plant garlic too early. And if you plant it too early, it's going to start growing, and garlic is a biennial. And when the cold weather comes, the cold weather is going to knock it back, and it's going to send the energy back down to the roots. The problem is the energy is coming from a single clove. And when that energy comes from a single clove, there's not a whole lot of energy left in the spring to regrow. And I found either I had the smallest garlic ever, and I thought I did something wrong. Other than planting early, I thought, well, maybe I just didn't fertilize enough. Maybe my soil's compacted. Maybe I planted the wrong variety. So I just kept planting as if it was like, okay, cool nights equals fall, fall planting garlic, garlic planted in the fall is good, therefore I should be great. Didn't really work out that way. And so I just kept planting early, and I kept having terrible results. That was until my grandpa asked me, he finally came to my garden one time and saw me planting garlic, and he's like, Luke, you are planting so early. Why are you planting so early? And I gave him my answer, and he said, just try planting it like 20 to 30 days before your first frost. You're gonna do way better. And I asked him why, and he said the same thing I just told you. Garlic's a biennial, energy goes up into the growth, but you want that energy to start growing. It's okay if it grows a little bit, like you're for sure gonna get a little bit of growth. That's fine. But we're talking like 8 to 10 inches of growth, not good. And so ultimately, I started planting my garlic 20 to 30 days before my first frost, and my harvests were so much better. And so don't rush it. It's not something you have to do. We're about 30 days out from our first frost, so that's why I'm planting garlic. But wait, it does not have to be a rushed thing. You got plenty of time. The next thing that I wish I knew when I first was planting garlic is don't plant it so deep. Now, I was under the impression that if you plant garlic deeper, the soil will protect it, and that's a good thing. Wasn't incorrect. You definitely want to protect your garlic from the cold, which is why you probably already know about the importance of mulching your garlic. That's something that most gardeners know. If you didn't, now you know. Definitely consider throwing a light mulch over your garlic. But planting deep is not a way to protect your garlic. Planting deep is a way to completely smother your garlic and end up with super tiny cloves. The reason why I'm just barely pushing these in, and why I only have to use my bulb planting tool in the event, in the odd event, is because it's slightly compacted. I just kind of want to work that soil up. My soil is generally loose enough to where I can just take the bulb, shove it in. And that's because I don't need to dig a hole to the center of the earth. They only need to be planted about 1 inch deep. If you have the little tops of the garlic, the little tufts of the garlic from the clove, if you have that little tuft and you can see that, that's fine. 1 inch, 1.5 inches is all you want to be planting your garlic. Any deeper than that, it's just too deep. And what's going to happen is over time that soil is going to collapse in and constrict the bulb development, and you're going to end up with very small heads of garlic. So I cannot stress this enough. It's so important that you understand this, because this took me a long time to understand what I was doing wrong. Every time I'd harvest, once I got everything right, I was just planting it way too deep, and I would harvest, and my harvest would be so small. The bulbs themselves would be so small, and I just didn't know what I was doing wrong. And that was until I watched a couple of people plant garlic, and I said, man, they're really not planting it that deep. Tried it myself, huge game changer. So consider that a worthwhile tip to success when planting garlic. Don't plant it too deep. And then the final thing, and I think this is something that most people probably already know, but I think it's worth mentioning, squishy garlic will not grow. Squishy garlic is rotten garlic, and it does happen from time to time. Even on the seed garlic here, you're gonna have 1 or 2 cloves that sometimes just go bad. That happens, that's life. The head as a whole is still fine, but you might have one head that gets bruised, might have already rotted, for whatever reason, right? There's a little squishy one right there. Throw it out. don't plant it, it's not gonna grow. And so don't try to keep squishy garlic. We sometimes try to baby everything we have because we spent money on this, we bought this, right? But we did not buy a pair of shoes. We did not buy a manufactured good. These were not made on an assembly line. These were buried in someone's field 2.5 months ago and then dug up. These are very much all different and all unique, and they come with their imperfections. That's just the nature of it. So you know that when you plant your garlic, plant only the firmest, healthiest, largest cloves you can for the best chance of success. And with those tips, you should be well off to having an amazing garlic harvest the next year. And I hope these tips helped. If you did enjoy, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. That always helps. Make sure to share this video with a friend if you think they would enjoy it, because I'm sure they probably would. And let me know in the comments box down below if this video helped and some other videos you'd like to see in the future. As always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow bigger. Take care. Bye. Hey, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, consider clicking this one. You'll probably enjoy it just as much. I want to thank you for your viewership, because without it, this channel would not be as amazing as it is. Also, if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. It's free, and we upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. We also have vegetable seeds, fertilizer, or tools. If you need any of those, consider visiting MIgardener.com. Links will be in the description box below. We've got you covered. And as always, we'll see you all in the garden. Take care. Bye.